Hey guys, welcome to another tattoo tutorial. A mermaid was the most requested in my last video, so that's what I'm going to do today. I also got a handful of requests to do something more colorful, so I figured I'd just combine the two. This one is more simplistic than my last few, so it's a lot easier and doesn't take as long if you're interested in recreating it. And I was inspired by this tattoo I found on Instagram. The artist is Miss Poppy Tattoo if you guys want to go have a look. So I always like to start out by mapping out the placement and size of the tattoo, and I'm just using a lip liner to do this. You can use a nude eye pencil if you want, which would be a lot easier to hide later on, but I just chose to go with a lip liner because I knew it'd show up on camera. So I'm just making the basic outline of the heart. I figured I'd mention that ideally I would do this upside down if I could because I think it'd look better that way, but I'm not a wizard, okay? A good tip is to have some makeup remover wipes at hand in case you fudge up. Once I get the shape how I want it, I'm just taking a liquid eyeliner pen, and this one is by Eve Pearl. I'm just going to go over that lip liner. I'm starting out by doing a super thin line in case I mess up and have to fix it, and then I'm just going to thicken it up as I go. For this next step, I'm using a liquid lipstick, which I've never done before, but they're a lot faster and easier to work with than eyeshadow when you need some color. This is Saint Tropez by Ofra Cosmetics, and I'm just using this with the Smith Cosmetics lip brush. And I'm just going around the outline of the heart to create a thin pink border. Once I have that down, I'm just going to grab that liquid liner one more time, and I'm just going to outline the inner part. Now I'm moving along to the rock that the mermaid's going to be sitting on. I ended up making it too small, which I'll fix later, but anyways, I'm basically just going off the photo for reference and moving on to the mermaid. I've actually switched over, if you've noticed, to my NYC liquid liner for this rather than the felt liquid liner pen. I just feel like the tip of this brush is very flexible and it's a lot easier to do small details with, in my opinion. And then I'm just working on her butt or hip area right there. Basically, she's just kind of leaning up on the rock, kind of like the Little Mermaid style. This is where I realized that the rock was not extended far out enough, so I just erased some of that with my makeup remover and made it a little bit longer so she can rest her arm on it right there. Now I'm drawing her other arm going behind her back, and then I'm just going to work on the shoulder and the face and the head area and move on to her hair. The good thing about this is you're going to be filling it in with black anyways, so if you make a mistake within her body shape, it's okay, nobody's going to notice. So I wanted to change up the background quite a bit, so I'm creating these curly waves with the liquid liner. I'm starting about 3/4 of the way up the heart, and I'm just starting at one side and creating these little curly Q type waves. These don't have to be perfect. I always go back in with a liquid liner after everything is colored in and I just go over the outlines once more. So the outlines don't have to be perfect the first time around. But I'm basically just doing 3 rows of these waves, and I'm moving about 1/2 inch down and doing another row of waves going in the opposite direction. Once I get that row done, I'm going to move down once more and do the same thing. And I'm just creating this half circle on the top row of waves, and this is going to be the sun. Alright, so now I'm going to move on to coloring everything in. I'm using primarily my Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca palette for everything, but you can honestly use any eyeshadows that you already have. So I'm starting with this light blue, and I'm just going in with a Real Techniques accent brush to fill in the majority of the waves. This brush is pretty big, so you can cover a pretty good amount of area with it, but once it gets to those hard to reach places, I'm going to switch to a really tiny paintbrush to get into those areas. I'm going to skip the middle row for now because I'm going to be filling that in with a darker color. And I'm just going to move on to that bottom layer of waves, and I'm going to fill this in with the same light blue. I switched to a dark blue for the middle row just to break up the color a little bit. It might take a couple layers of eyeshadow to get the color payoff and opacity that you want. Just keep in mind that if you want to do this at home, using a paint would be a lot easier. Go ahead and do that if you have it. But I just choose to use makeup because it's what I've been doing for a while and it's fun and it's different. So I'm taking a yellow eyeshadow now and I'm filling up that sun up there, and I'm going for a sunset color scheme for the sky. So I'm taking that same yellow on a fluffier brush and I'm starting to blend it into the middle of the sky. And right now I'm switching to an orange and I'm blending this around the sun so it's brightest and darkest right there. I'm switching to a smaller, denser, flat brush, and I'm packing this orange on really close to the sun, and then I'm just blending that out, and I'm making sure to blend the orange in with the yellow. And then my camera kind of cut out right here, but I used that same light blue to fill up the rest of the sky and blend that in with the other colors. I'm moving back to the rock now, and I'm taking just a teeny tiny bit of black eyeshadow. I'm just blending this out to make the entire rock a light gray color. And then I'm picking up a little bit more of the black, but focusing it on the lower half of the rock so it's darker there, kind of like a shadow. I'm basically just going back and forth between adding more black to the lower half and then blending it lightly into the gray to create another gradient look. You could use black eyeshadow to fill in the mermaid as well, but I decided to use my Anastasia Cream Color in Jet, which is a gel liner. I added a drop of Inglot Duraline to make it a lot more smooth and easier to work with, and then I'm just using a Smith 202 fine liner brush to do this step. The smaller your brush, the easier it'll be, trust me. It would be really hard to fix a mistake if you went outside the lines with this step, so definitely take your time. As you can see, the gel liner is a little bit shiny and glossy, so I'm just going to take some black eyeshadow, and I'm just going to set the gel liner with this to take that look away, and to make it a little bit more matte. I felt like the outside of the heart was a little bit bare, so I'm just adding a scalloped look, I guess, around the border of it by creating these little half circles that get smaller towards the points of the heart. And then once I have the whole heart outlined with these, I'm just going to go in with that same yellow that we used in the sun and the sky, and I'm just going to fill these in. Alright, so now's the time to just go over everything once everything is all colored in and make the black lines darker and thicker. So the eyeshadows really fog up the lines, so this is an important step if you want the outlines to be more defined and bold. I just feel like it tends to look a little too washed out if you don't go back in with a second layer of liner, so that's why I'm doing this. You guys know I love adding dots for finishing touches, so that's what I'm doing to add a little bit more texture to the rock there. And then I also felt like the sky was a little too boring, so I'm just using that eyeliner pen to draw some tiny little birds up there. You can add clouds, whatever you want, a boat, have fun. Doesn't matter. I thought the waves needed a little bit of dimension, so I'm taking my NYX white liquid liner and I'm just using this to add some really thin lines to the crest of each wave. And then last but not least, you guys guessed it, I'm going to add some more dots in between each half circle. If you want the whole thing to look a little more faded like a tattoo would, I guess, you can pack some translucent loose powder over the top once you give the liquid liner a few minutes to dry. And that's it. I hope you guys liked this one. As always, let me know what kind of tattoo you want to see next. Alright guys, thanks for watching and I'll see you in my next video.